Hey, this is Max Bemis from Say Anything, and you're listening to Chronicles of the Nerds.
Well, first off, you guys are on tour right now. How's the tour going for you guys?
It's been really amazing. We tend to do headlining tours more than anything, just because we have a kind of crazy, rabid fan base that demands that we, play for an hour and a half. But we're big fans of Angels and Airwaves, and they're a sizable band, so we took this tour, and it's been actually really amazing. It's been, big crowds, and half of them know all the words, and half of them seem to be learning about us for the first time, which is kind of what we set out to do with this tour.
So, as far as Two Tongues, I've heard some rumors that there's going to be some touring with you guys soon?
We're always talking about it. The chances of it happening are always about equal. Because we're both very busy, and right now Chris is recording his new record. So, there'll be a period where he's done and I'm done touring, so who knows, it could happen then, or it could happen later this year or early next year. It's going to happen eventually, that's all we know.
Well, I know that you're a big comic book fan.
Yes,
even to
big
the point
time.
where I've heard, I believe in another interview, I saw you say that you're actually creating your own comic at this point?
I'm working on it. It's going to be a long work in progress. I take comics really seriously, and it took me years to create a product in music where I was able to go around and say, this is amazing, you should, put this out, people should read this. And I've started the process, but I anticipate it being a while before it actually comes out. My goal is to have the first thing I do not be about music or being a musician at all. But I do think that people who like my band will like it because it has, anything that I work on is going to have really serious parts of it, and then parts of it that are just really darkly funny and ridiculous. So, the sort of the tone of my music will be involved in the writing. And that's a lot of the comics that I read that I love have that similar tone as well. Not all of them, because I read so very many. But, my favorite writers tend to skew that way.
Who are some of your favorite creators, by the way?
I have so many. My two favorites as of right now, sort of in a tied position, are Grant Morrison and Ed Brubaker. But, there's, Alan Moore, Warren Ellis, Bendis. Oh my God, I could just go on forever, to be honest.
Now, as far as your love for comics and things like that, how did that really start for you? It always seems like it's a very strange, different story for most comic book fans.
Yeah, it is a kind of funny story. I grew up reading comics, when I was really young, and up through probably midway through high school. And I was lucky to be raised on, not just superhero comics, but, Sandman and Watchmen and all that stuff, even when I was really young. I don't think my mom realized how messed up those comics were, so when she gave them to me, So I was reading all through, high school, and then got obsessed with music and kind of stopped. And then about, 4 or 5 years later, when I turned 20 or 21, I started to have reoccurring dreams about comics, where I would be in a comic book store and could get anything I wanted. And I kept having them, and they were I have nightmares consistently. Never really have dreams that I enjoy. And those dreams, for some reason, were really fun and cool to me. So I finally decided to get back into it, and I kind of like bought like every graphic novel. And so now I have like a huge library in my house, and all I do is read them. And they're definitely my favorite thing, like, material object in the world. I'm literally just OCD. I mean, I bring like 8 huge boxes of graphic novels on tour that I keep under my bus, and I pack them really anally with bubble wrap and everything so they remain in, optimal condition. Not that I'm like an anal collector, I just like to have my books be in, really good condition, not like mint or anything, and I don't bag them. But I'm like totally, like, that's all I do. I mean, I sit in the back lounge and just read all day.
What can we expect from Say Anything in the future? Is there any big plans on the horizon or anything you can talk about that's coming up soon?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a new single coming out, our song Do Better, off our new record, and we've remixed it a couple of times. A couple of pretty cool people are doing remixes. I can't talk about who it is yet, but they're good. And it's going to radio within the next few weeks to a month. And then we're going to sort of see where that leads, because it's like, if we have a, you always got to plan on both contingencies, as in, like, what if this song really connects, and then we sort of have a different, it really leads you, how a song does on the radio, and, that doesn't mean it's going to determine the fate of the band, but it does mean that it's going to affect things, so we kind of got to wait on that.
And I guess one final question is, Say Anything has really been kind of a concept that you've been working on for a long time, and it's been a project that you were working on even before, Is a Real Boy and all that. What can you say to people that, I guess, have ideas that they've been developing, but, just haven't necessarily got it broken out, for instance?
Yeah. I think anything takes time. I think anything worthwhile is a mixture between time, and effort, and, to some degree talent. But, I mean, I think when I listen back to the music I made when I was 14, before I, started really playing shows or anything, I mean, you could go so far as to call me talentless. Like, anyone could have, like, listened to me and been like, there's no way this guy will ever do anything. But all it took was me challenging myself. I think it's talent is almost a label for people who take the time to challenge themselves and use the bar of the people that are their heroes, not just as, someone to look up to and to emulate, but as someone to compete with. And I think that's sort of what helped Say Anything get to where it is today, and what continues to help us do all right is the fact that when I look at people who I really look up to, I want to beat them, and in a very healthy, nice way. I mean, I don't want to bring shame to anyone. I don't want to, like, knock anyone down a notch, but I want my music to be competitive with those people that I look up to. And I think that if anyone is writing something or creating something or singing something, it's like, don't rag on yourself just because you've just started out or because you haven't found success yet, and think that you're not as talented as the people you look up to. Because for all you know, you could be the next that person. And, it may not happen if you give up.
No, that's actually really great advice.
Thank you.
Well, Max, thanks for the interview, and thanks for your time.
No problem.
You feel to be blind.